Hello, friends. Welcome to Akul Mac, and I have a very distinguished guest joining us today from Singapore. He's a global speaker. He is a well-known executive coach. His name is Mr. Kevin Kotam, and he is also the CEO of Go Nomading PTE Limited, based at Singapore. So the subject today is a very, very important, very vital subject that is related to the interviews and how we should prepare for interviews. And I think today's discussion is going to be very interesting. I will have Kevin give us more information. So let's welcome him.
Hello there, Chandra. It's wonderful to see you and be with you again. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the show, Kevin, and you're looking great. In fact, our viewers would also like to know how you can tell our viewers to prepare for the interview, because I think a lot of people are now looking forwards to starting new jobs. And what are the new parameters that the people must include in their elevator pitch when they go for a job interview? So over to you, Kevin.
Uh, Thanks very much, Chandra. Yes. Today is a really interesting period. It's always interesting period to do interviews, but with the Great Resignation at the moment of where there's been last year recorded by the American Bureau of Labor, was saying that there was 19 plus million people that were leaving their jobs. And they say in Singapore, for example, that by the end of this year, 49% of people will have left their jobs. And also in England, they say that over 60% from Aviva, which they have this data, says that people will do a career change. What does this all mean, though? This means in not only upskilling and finding new skills, whether you're changing jobs, positions, or whether you're changing careers, it all makes a very big difference. But the point is that skills are skills and interviews are interviews. And interviews are performances. And performances are also skill, because how do you interview well? I've been doing this for quite some time, of working with directors and aspirants of managements that want to make go to a new position, and they come to me to hone their skills. Why? Because most of them haven't interviewed in so long. They've been in a position so long, they've forgotten it. And if you think about it, it's like a muscle memory in many ways. And it's like a training, like any sort of training, is that we're now into the Olympic period. And of course, athletes, they train, and then perform. And that takes a lot of practice. The same with interviewing. It takes an awful lot of practice. First of all, there's a lot of pains and fear that a lot of people have. And excuse me a second, I just need to have a glass of water. Sorry. Yes. A lot of people have fears. They have fears that they may look stupid. They may not look intelligent enough. They may not look good. They may not sound good. They may not feel good. They may not have the right amount of nuance in their voices. They may not have the dynamics. They may not have the knowledge. They may not know how to structure. All of these are fears that people have in many ways, and problems that they have. And I think that you may find that you land in some of these different categories and feel these fears. I know for myself that I had them a lot in my career, and feeling that even though that I was a performer in the sense that I was an athlete, you still go through this interview process of always, every competition is like a new interview in the performance, because you are getting judged upon it. And it's the same thing, even though it's just using your body and not the words, but it's another aspect. So I like to say that there are three pillars that we need to look at when you're talking about interviews and understanding the skills of interviews. One of them is performance. Second one is research. And third is network. Now, I'm going to share with you a little bit about each one of them. Now, let us talk about, first of all, about network. Network is what we do today on a very large scale. But you need to know let's take social media. Social media, the employers will now look at your social media profiles. They'll look at those as bios. They'll look at all the pictures. They will look at all of those that you wish to share with them, is to clean it up. Take away the photos that you don't feel represent who you want to represent for this particular position or a position. It is about your brand in many ways. How do I want to appear? How do I want to show up? How do I want to be? What do I want to look like? It's not about, you have to be careful about certain sites, like who you're visiting with. Are you in a big drunken brawl, or are you, just showing a lot of nude pictures, or all sorts of things? They will look at these and they will look to see, do we want this person for an interview, or do we want some prejudgment, which is sad, but it happens because you've got to look at it from the interviewer's point of view, because you need to put yourself in their place, because they are working for the company. That is what their sole objective is to find the best people for the best positions at that time. And so you need to put yourself in there instead of just coming as you and just being you, which is a good thing. However, you need to know what's happening on the other side. So the network is not only the network of social media, it's who you hang out with. It's who the people that you, even in your own friends and things like this, and the people that, for example, if you're on LinkedIn, is who are the people that are associated with you, and who are those people, because that can help you also build your network, and it also can help you to promote not only who you are, but also it can promote in many ways the information and the class of person that you are, and also the intelligence that you have and the interests that you have in your life. So these are extremely important as far as network is concerned. Let me go on to research. I'll tell a story about a friend of mine. He said, I had someone come to me for an interview, and I sat there and I asked them about what did they see about the company and understand about the company. And they didn't understand anything about the company. They hadn't done any research about even who they were, just that they happened to be in design. And this is also a waste of time for the interviewer, because they don't have a lot of time. It's really important that you do your pre-work, that you research, what is this company? Is this company for you? Is there a position within that company for you? Does it have a sustainability footprint that really resonates with you? Are the values, the purpose, or is it just greenwashing? What is it? And those things are important. What are their latest wins in the company? What are the latest developments in the company? You can see this on their websites. These are important factors. You must research so that when you go for any interview, you sound like you know, and you can bring something to the table. Because one of the things that they are actually, the interviewer is asking you is, what can you do for us? What do you bring to the table in skills? And skills are not just mental skills like technology, digital transformation. It's about communications or marketing. It's about how do you do those? How are you being with those? What are the stories? What's the empathy behind it? What is your desire? What's your purpose? What's your real reasons? This is a lot of stuff that you have to get into the nitty-gritty of researching. But the great thing about it is, it helps you to clarify. It helps you to weed out what you want and what you don't want. And you'll say, oh, well, sometimes I don't have a choice, whatever. You always have a choice. You say, no, I don't have a choice because I have a family to feed, and I don't have any choice. You do have a choice. You have a choice to make that choice of whether I go there or I don't go there, or accept a position or I don't accept a position, or maybe it's another position. But you always have a choice. Even though you may think, no, I don't have a choice. You have a choice to think that way, that you don't have a choice. That choices are everything. We're consummate choice makers. And that comes into interviews. into the research, the choices that you make, into the network, the choices that you make of the people that you want to then, or the forums that you want to associate with, or the groups you want to associate with. They can be sources, incredible sources for you. So think about it in that realm. It's look at the network, look at the research, and then also look at the performance. Now, this is where you take a lot of practice, because the performance is practice. And this is what they're going to see, but you're going to include network and the other intellectual explorations and discoveries of research and that, and network networks. But now is the real performance. How do you structure your answers? How do you tell stories? How do you weave stories in? What is your tonality? What is your body language? How, on so many different levels, are you going to perform this? One of the most important things is understanding timing as well, is that you don't have a lot of time quite often, right, for a question. You need to make sure that you are succinct, clear, and short. If they want more information, they will ask you. Don't ramble on. Many people just start, they answer a question and they'll just ramble. I have found this constantly. And I sit there and I don't know what they've just said. And make it easy and simple for the interviewer to understand the answer. Plus also, if I say make it simple and easy, make it incredibly clear and incredibly succinct, and you will be much better off. It's when you start to wander. Here's one thing that happens often, is that the interviewer will ask you something that you know nothing about, or you feel that you don't know anything about. You haven't researched that question. I always suggest to people to say, what I do know to be true about this situation, whatever that situation was that question was, and you go on about that. As to more, and so you always know something that is related. Don't leave the space, I don't know. Because what that does do is also shares with them, not that you don't know, but also that you don't have any sort of critical or creative thinking at the same time as to what can I find? What do I know to be true about this particular scenario or a type of situation or something that you have been in? Maybe it's a story which will tell the whole answer in a story. These things are so important. Also, is to breathe. You think, what are you talking about breathing? People get very nervous. And then you start to forget things. And then you start to freeze. And then you go panicky because you're freezing. No, breathe. Breathe. The best thing that you can do is breathe when you get a little bit tense. And take a pause. There is no problem for you, when you get asked a question, for you to take a question. You don't have to just jump in or even over the words of the interviewer. No, wait, maybe 5 seconds, and then answer. I'll tell you one trick is, for example, if somebody was to ask you, what motivates you about this position? You start the answer by saying, what motivates me about this position are 3 things. 1, 2, 3, whatever those might be. And that will give it so much clarity. And when I say those 3 things, I don't say 3 things that are like a dissertation, like one of them. No, those 3 things are like 1 word to 3 words each. So 1 is 1 to 3 words. 2 is 1 to 3 words. 3 is 1 to 3 words. And then then you can start explaining a little bit more about what those three are. But then you come back, you repeat, because it's about repeat, 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 so people can remember. Remember what you've said. And that way it will become much clearer. So for example, think about answering a question in a short question like a pitch. And that has a beginning, middle, and end. The beginning is very short and should be only maybe 10 seconds at the most. The end is a summary, which is a conclusion, which can be maybe 10 seconds. So we've got 20 seconds, and if it's a 3-minute. So now you have 2 minutes and 40 seconds for the middle part. And the middle part has to explain what your three things are that motivate you, or what your behaviors are, or what excites you, or what are the challenges, or all sorts of things, whatever the question may be. So hopefully that's clear to you, is that when you answer a question, think of it as 3 S's. Say what you're going to say it, say what you just said. Okay? So say what you're going to say it, say what you've just said. All right? That means, and also never go more than 3 points. In even 3 minutes, don't go more than 3 points. If you have to make it very short, then maybe just 1 point. And this will make your structure much easier for the person to understand, and it gives it more power and dynamism at the same time, because you become very clear. Now, when I work with clients, what happens is that their answer will be so long. And so I have to shrink and chunk and chunk and chunk and chunk and really observe and listen. Do we need this? Do you need that? Is this part of the puzzle? Is this part of the answer? Is this part of another question? Is it, how can we? It's very, very important for you to make it short. And that's what working with somebody does. Now, I come back to that, is that you can learn all of this on your own, which is tough. When I was a figure skater and to become a Canadian champion, I could never have done it on my own. I had to have a coach to teach me technique, and a choreographer to teach me choreography. I had different people, and today we have so many in an athletic team and the top teams. They have so many different coaches, mentors, therapists. It's a team. But what are all of those? It's hard to do it on your own. And that's why I'm developing a group coaching course called 3 Pillars for Successful Interviews Coaching. And at the same time, you can also do it as a group. Now, why did I decide to start to do it as a group? Because I think we're now in a period where we really need these skills so well. And people as possible. The knowledge that I have, that's why we have it, is to give it away. It's in that sense of sharing it. Of course, the course is not free, but it certainly is probably the best thing that you can do for yourself. Like I had a coach. Most people, athletes have a coach. Drama people have a coach. Most leaders have a coach. And many other managers have coaches. It is because you want another opinion. You also, when you're learning a skill, you want to learn from those that have excelled, right? When you go to a piano teacher, you don't want to just go to no one. You want to go to somebody that has had some sort of credentialing and has some sort of track record. You know, it's one of those things that it's difficult also to see yourself. And from the point of view of having a coach, is that I'm able to watch you, help you, guide you, dare you, even to be courageous. And to be able to do interviews, you need to be courageous. You need to bring that bravery out in yourself. And that's part of performance, much part of performance. So I've shared with you some tips and some thoughts and some ideas around the 3 pillars. That is, 1 is performance, 2 is research, and 3 is network. Now, did you hear how I said that? That is sharing with you. Now you know it's clear. There are 3 pillars. And I explained a little bit more inside of what those were.
Certainly, Kevin, it was very interesting and makes a lot of sense because you should be able to convince the other person the entire meaning of your pitch in minimum words. I think that's a trick because the interviewer is meeting hundreds of people and so on. Therefore, the chances of selection, if you talk too many words and your meaning is lost, that is not important. So I think you're also right by saying that you need a teacher who can train you with these things. So I have one special question around this. The whole hiring mechanism is now becoming digital. So do you think the ways of digital interviewing is also covered as part of your 3 pillars program? If you have, you can give us a little bit more information around that.
Yeah. I mean, yes. I mean, there's basically 2 ways, right? Is one that you are doing it face to face with a panel or one individual. And sometimes, depending on the position that you're going for, it could be 1 to 5, maybe I've heard even 9 interviews, depending on different people that will interview you. And what is the difference between that now and virtual? Well, virtual, right, is a screen. And so now people see you face on. They don't see your whole body. And this becomes another challenge. And it also becomes a challenge of how expressive you are. And so you need to be able to practice in front of a camera. Some people are not happy in front of a camera. So true. In fact, I don't feel happy in front of a camera sometimes. However, if you're going to be able to do this, that is one of the tips that I have. And one of the things that I work with my clients on is setting up the space, setting up what does it look like behind you? What do you look like? What are you wearing? Are you women? Are you wearing any earrings? Is your hair all down over your face? Or is it behind? Because one of the things is that when you wear your hair all forward for women, there isn't a thinking inside of you, the other person, the interviewer, why are you hiding something? Are you hiding behind your hair? The bravery is pulling your hair back behind you so we can see your face, the beauty. And we can see you smile. We can see this. It's not hidden. And for face-to-face, that's one thing. But on TV, on video, it's a whole different subject. How you use your hands, how do you put them in front of your face like that? No, you cannot do that. How do you use your eyes? How do you speak? How do you move? Do you sit? You just sit like this, very expressionless? No. It's very, very different. And so you need to practice. And practicing with a coach to be able to be on the other side that understands this and then sees it can be very helpful. And also looking in the mirror always helps. Also recording your voice also helps. All of these things help you, just like any actor would. I mean, you are being an actor, and you have to be somewhat of an actor today to be able to get the real positions. And I don't mean act out of character. I am saying you need to be able to hold your purpose, your talents, all of them together, and just present yourself as who you are and the best of who you are, bringing that forth. So digital is different than face-to-face. And hopefully that answers some of your question, Chandra.
Yes, I have the questions regarding your program, which is the 3 pillars of performing interviews or preparing for interviews. Um, can you tell our viewers a little bit more about things like, how long is the program? Is it 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month? How many classes and what all is covered? So in brief, if you can tell us, that will be great.
Sure. So this evening, in just a short moment, at 7 o'clock Singapore time, I'm going to be doing an introductory webinar on it for 1 hour and just sharing you a little bit more, also a little bit what I've said today, and also a little bit about what the course is. And then if you're interested, we will have a private conversation to see how this fits in for you and how it can best fit you. Because I think that's the important thing, because I want you to be very satisfied in what you're going to achieve and what you want to achieve. So the actual course is a group coaching course, and that is 8 hours in total. It includes practice, and each session, there's 4 sessions of 2 hours with about a 5-minute break in between. And it will be starting next week. It does say February 14th on the sign, but I realize now that's the Lover's Day, and I think that people may be busy. And so we're going to shift that to the 15th. But we need to do it before the end of, in this particular region, before the 28th, because I'm leaving for Canada and I won't be back for a while. And so I would like to get this course for everyone in this particular region done so that you feel good about it. Otherwise, you know, there will always be other courses as well, because this is going to be a feature from Go Nomading, one of the courses. And because I believe that it's extremely important today. So it's going to be, as I said, 8 hours, 4 times 2 sessions, and they will include a variety of theory, practice, and those will be also, you'll be paired up with a coach, so to speak, amongst a member of the participants, and you will watch. I will do a demonstration, and then you'll go off into groups and to be able to do that and to practice. And also then we come back and we will learn more technique and more things. And so basically there'll be 6 hours on structure and performance and 2 hours on research and network. So it'll be less. And so that's how it will be planned out.
Excellent, Kevin. I think this is very, very useful course, and people can actually learn a lot of these tricks to make their own pitch, make their own body language, so that they can land into a job of their dream. So viewers, the link to join this course is given in the description below. You can click on that link and you can directly get associated with the course, which is the 3 pillars of preparing for an interview. And you know, this is being offered by Kevin himself. He's a very popular person, very well-known guru for even the executive coach. So I think don't miss a chance to join this course to study. Kevin, it was a pleasure talking to you and learning a little bit about you know, what you're offering for youngsters and for the budding people who wants to land into a job. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay. Thank you very much, Andra. Pleasure to always be with you.